Hi everyone, I'm Robert Killen, Director of the Lane Small Business Development Center, and this is a Lane Business Update for Friday, April 23rd. There's been quite a bit of motion both on the federal and state level with relief programs I wanted to make you aware of. I actually have several to get through, so I will go quickly. We'll go ahead and start with the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. So this program, which is obviously for venues like theaters, cinemas, stages, any place with fixed seating and organizations that use them. This program opened up several weeks ago, but it was immediately shut down because the software just wasn't ready for the volume, couldn't handle it. So they've spent the last few weeks improving the software. They now have it ready to go. And it's scheduled to reopen tomorrow, April 24th at 9:30 a.m. Pacific. So if you've been waiting for it, it is here. I do want to point your attention to at the bottom of this page, which has a lot of great information on it, and I'll link that above. There are two video tutorials. One is on the application portal. The other one is on the SAM entity registration. In order to get this particular grant, you have to have a SAM number, and that registration is necessary in order to apply for the grant. Now, I've mentioned this before, but they now have this video to help you accomplish that, which is great. One of the things that's a bonus for having this program now going live is it now makes way for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, which we've been desperately waiting for, but they've been pushing it out as the SBA has tried to get this venue program underway. So now we don't know if this is going to happen immediately or within the next week or two, but we know that the next item to come to us is this restaurant grant program. This is going to be a fantastic grant with potentially huge numbers, so that the amount of the grant is your 2019 gross revenue minus 2020. So if you were largely closed during 2020, this could be a huge grant. If you got PPP, you have to subtract that from the grant amount, but again, it could be a very large grant. I did want to call your attention to a couple things in here. The first is who can apply. Obviously restaurants, but many more. Food stands, caterers, bakeries, breweries. You do have to be selling to the public, so there are some eligibility requirements there, but almost anybody that serves food is eligible for this program. And then down a little bit farther, under funding amount, this is very interesting. This describes what I just mentioned, 2019 gross receipts minus 2020 gross receipts and PPP loan amounts. So that's for a restaurant that's been open for some time. But if you were only open partially in 2019, so you're a fairly new restaurant, there's another way to calculate the potential grant amount. And this is very exciting for restaurants that began operations between January 1st of last year and March 10th. So brand new restaurants, you can get eligible expenses recouped through this program. So if you're just getting started as a restaurant, you can also use this. And this is the only program of all of these federal programs that has allowed for brand new entities to obtain funds, because most disaster relief funding doesn't work. Does not allow for new businesses to partake. So good news for new restaurants. On the state side, two programs. The Commercial Rent Relief Program opened its second window for applications on Thursday, so just a couple days ago. There's 2 weeks now that if you are a commercial property owner and you're missing rents as a result of COVID, you can get those recouped through this program. So once it's done, it's done. But they do have $50 million available for landlords. I would expect that every landlord that applies does get funded because of the way it worked in the first round. So again, if you have any questions, reach out to me. And then we're waiting for the reopening of that second round for the residential property owner program, the Landlord Compensation Fund. They have said as of 2 weeks ago that they were going to open it before the end of April, so I would expect it any day now. We just haven't known for sure. And then one final note on the Targeted EIDL Advance. This is a program for recipients of EIDL advances back in the spring and summer, and remember this was $1,000 per employee up to a maximum of 10. There was some question about whether or not everybody should get $10,000. That did not happen. But with the new stimulus at the beginning of the year, they have said that specific clients or specific recipients can get that full $10,000 if they meet these criteria. Fewer than 300 employees, which is pretty much everyone. You are in a designated low-income area, and there is a policy map now available to check that, and then you have to be able to show 30% reduction in revenue in a 2-month period when comparing 2020 over 2019. So those are the eligibility requirements, and the SBA was sending out invitations to apply. My assumption, and what I heard from others, is that the SBA would be vetting whether or not businesses were in those low-income neighborhoods. Unfortunately, based on some recent activity with some of my clients, it does not look like that's the case. So if you actually look here on the SBA's website, they do say the SBA encourages potential applicants to check the map to see if they meet the low-income eligibility requirements before they apply. So this is a little disappointing to me, because I would presume if they were going to invite you to apply that they would have checked your address in advance, but apparently that's not the case. So do not presume you are eligible from a low-income standpoint just because you got the application. I just don't want anybody to get their hopes up. You do need to go in and check this policy map, which you can find on the SBA's website. So lots to talk about. If you have questions on any of these programs, please leave a message in the comments below or reach out to me directly. I'm happy to engage in conversation. And until next time, cheers.